Happy Monday, everyone. Chargers Now is presented by PrizePicks. I am your host, Will Ortner. And on today's show, we got some good news on a couple of different fronts for the Chargers. Now, it's none of the sexy news. We're not diving into maybe a player signing or a player really exploding in OTAs. That's going to be all next week. But really, we're going to dive into the nitty-gritty on today's program. And this, of course, is why you're subscribed to the channel, because we don't leave any stone unturned. There's no story that's too small for us. We're going to be talking about the NFL's Accelerator Program because there's a couple of Chargers, one coach and one front office member that are going to be involved in it. We're going to explain what it is and why this is a good thing, not just for the Chargers, but for those individuals as well. And then I'm going to let you know about some great front office news because the Los Angeles Chargers, there was a worry that they could be losing a key cog in that front office machine, and it's become clear that that's not what's going to happen. So let's start first, though, with the Accelerator Program and discuss what it actually is, right? Because I think that there are some people like myself, like maybe producer Searle, that heard that and went, oh, that's cool. What is that? And so we're going to really break that down here. But just one sec. I want to say thank you to everyone who hit that subscribe button for us. We really appreciate it. We just got to 4K subs. I believe that was on Sunday, although we were getting really close on Saturday night. Just want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel. We would not be able to do this type of content without you, and you guys have been the best community. Got started in January, so a little under 1,000 subscribers every month. But, man, that's still so stinking awesome. We're going to take this thing to the moon, and I want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed. So the Accelerator Program is something that the NFL uses to help try and expand some leadership roles. They want to diversify, right? What they have a fear of at times in the National Football League is just having the same guys get hired again and again and again, whether it's a general manager or head coaches. And while that still does happen to a degree, it is important to note that the Accelerator Program is aiming to try and stop some of that and help give some fresher voices and some fresher faces opportunities to take that next step up either sooner or get that step up entirely. So here's what Jeremy Fowler had to say on the NFL Accelerator Program. The program, created in 2022, was with the intention of increasing diversity in leadership roles. It was paused in 2025. And it returns to the owners' meetings on Monday and Tuesday in Orlando, Florida. So those meetings are going on right now, and this program really allows for a networking opportunity for a lot of these coaches and members of front offices to meet with different owners. So there might be an owner that doesn't have a head coach vacancy right now or a GM vacancy right now, but this is a good opportunity for them to meet these people. And if you're a young, right, you haven't had the opportunity to kind of go through the job search process, or you've only done it once or twice, you might not realize how important networking is for individuals, especially for individuals in the line of work that is football. At the end of the day, for you to get hired, you have to impress those who are in charge, and you don't necessarily impress those who are in charge when you show up for your head coaching interview or for your GM interview. You impress them when you're an assistant GM or lower, a scout. You're an offensive coordinator, a position coach, and then you put yourself in the opportunity to get that job. Now, the Chargers people who are expected to attend would be Mike McDaniel and Chad Alexander, offensive coordinator and assistant GM for the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, it is important to note that with McDaniel, there is a chance that he might not be able to end up attending. He does have a scheduling conflict right now, but he is the person that everyone was kind of headlining or excited to see at this meeting because he's already been a head coach, and now that he's back being an offensive coordinator, he can help, one, try and keep pushing his career forward, but also, two, help show the others how they can grow just like he has. Now, I think this is a good thing for the Chargers because it shows that you have people in your coaching staff as well as in your front office that are primed for big things. And while they are not at the top end yet where they want to be, it is important to note that they're only going to help grow this team because you have a lot of quality people working for your organization. We've got more to get into on today's program, but I got to let you know that today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 sports picks app, and is the best place to win cash while watching sports. With playoff basketball here, there's no better time to cash in than with our friends at PrizePicks. And I'll tell you this, the app, it's really easy to use. To qualify for a PrizePicks lineup, pick 2 to 6 players and select more or less on stat projections, including points, rebounds, assists, three-pointers, and several others across all sports. If you're more of a seam head, you can choose stats such as hits, home runs, and strikeouts. One thing I really love is the new social feeds feature, where you can share PrizePicks with your friends and copy lineups with a single click. You can actually follow me on the app. That's right. At BigWill7774, you'll be able to see all of my lineups. I have a lineup for the basketball action going on later on this evening. De'Aaron Fox, more on his points. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, more on his points as well. New user offer. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to receive $50 in lineups. That's code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to get an extra $50 in lineups with PrizePicks. Clickable link to download the app is in the comments and description. We're going to get to the front office news now for the Chargers, but I do want to make sure that I really touch on this point. I think it's very cool for the Chargers that they have 2 people that are going to be in that NFL Accelerator Program because, again, you want your football team to have some of the brightest minds on your coaching staff as well as in your front office. It only leads to good things. We talked about Chad Alexander earlier, but now it seems like it's going to officially happen. Assistant General Manager Chad Alexander is going to be back in Los Angeles with the Chargers. You can see him here in this photo with General Manager Joe Hortiz. Now, Alexander and Hortiz both worked with each other over in the Ravens front office before they ended up both coming over to Los Angeles. Now, why am I saying that he is going to be back? Well, the Minnesota Vikings had originally requested Alexander for an interview for their vacant GM position. Now, the Vikings requested 6, 7, 8 different guys in the National Football League, most of them assistant general managers, to come in and interview for their spot. And I think it's fair that there could be some worry or some fear for Chargers fans that they could potentially be losing someone who is very high up in their front office to the Minnesota Vikings. So the fact that news broke that Alexander was going to be returning, that's only going to be a good thing. And we've got more to get into that. But I do want to ask you, now, if you're watching Chat Sports and you're watching Chargers Now in the middle of May, you're a football sicko. 1, I love you for that because I'm a football sicko too. But 2, that does mean that you know about Chad Alexander and you know why he's important for this team. So I do want to ask you, were you worried that Alexander would leave the Chargers in the 2026 NFL offseason? Yes or no? Let me know what your opinion is down below in that comment section. Because me personally, my answer was yes. Now, Albert Breer of SI, kind of while everyone was going through all the craziness of the NFL schedule release, he put out a tweet that essentially said Alexander had withdrew his name and he was comfortable staying in LA. He wanted to help build this roster. And I think that this is great news because it shows a couple of different things. 1, you're going to get to hold on to a guy that I think is very talented, is clearly well respected in a lot of NFL circles, but more importantly, you've got a guy who helped build what this roster is, and he truly believes in it. And he's willing to put a potential increase in his career or a progression in his career because he wants to make sure that he stays home and he sees this out until the very end. Now, there are a couple other reasons why Alexander might be staying. First of all, Minnesota has a lot of instability right now. They ended up firing their GM during the Senior Bowl this offseason or around that time. So, in my opinion, the Vikings made a decision to fire their general manager very late. Then, instead of immediately going into a GM search, what did the Vikings do? They said, we're going to let our coaching staff make this draft and make all of our picks in this draft, and then we'll hire a GM. Well, if I'm a prospective GM applicant, that might not make me super comfortable because when you look at the position of being a general manager, your job is to bring in the talent and let the coaches develop that talent. Well, if the coaches are bringing in the talent, 1, the GM doesn't get to take credit for the success of those guys, but you're also, to a degree, tied in your career to how that coaching staff does. It feels like there's a weird power dynamic going on in Minnesota right now, and that's 1, led to a poor run general manager search, but 2, it's another reason why Alexander might look at the Vikings and say, That's not an opportunity that I'm really willing to take right now. Next, I think Alexander is staying because he knows what this team is in Los Angeles. If you've been watching Chargers now since January, which was really the inception of the channel, you know how high I am on this team, specifically once Mike McDaniel was brought in to be the offensive coordinator. This is a team that is built to win now, but also built to win in the future. But when we talk about the here and now, the Chargers made the postseason last year with the worst offensive line in the National Football League because everyone was hurt, and the guys who weren't hurt were not very good. They had a defense that was aging. It played very well, but it did feel like they were a defense that could be improved upon. And offensively, other than the offensive line, it felt like everyone took a slight regression. Well, what did the Chargers do in this offseason? They rebuilt the O-line. They brought in an innovative mind for your offensive coordinator position. You brought in a Jesse Minter disciple to be your defensive coordinator, and the parts where the Chargers were a little bit weak on defense, I feel like they were improved. This is a team that can be special. This is a team that limped into the postseason last year that if everyone stays healthy, should not limp into the postseason this next year. They should be sprinting through that finish line. There is a real chance that in February, on Valentine's Day, you are coming to hang out with myself and producer Searle because we're doing a watch party for the Super Bowl. I might be a bit biased on the Los Angeles Chargers, but I really do believe that this team can win a title. And I think Chad Alexander does too. And that's part of the reason why he is staying in Los Angeles. When I look, make sure we have this completely dialed, I believe that there is a real chance that if this team stays healthy, they are going to win the AFC West. I really do believe that. And if you're dialed in with me and you believe that the Chargers can win the West, you're going to type agree down below in the comment section. Type those agrees. I better not see any disagrees, and if I see some, I'm going to be a little bit upset. Like the video if you think the Chargers can go on a run, just like I've been saying, and you're happy for those in the organization that are getting recognized on a national level right now with the NFL. Hit that sub button. Thank you for 4K, but we're not satisfied. Let's get to 5K before the start of June. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video, and as always, bolt up.